People in glass houses should not throw stones, and it seems that there's some people in Washington who have not heard that sage advice. Welcome, this is Dr. David D. Shine for a special edition of Saving America. The clown show, formerly known as the United States Senate, has attempted to force a code of ethics on the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's take a closer look. First, the trigger. There are multiple reports that Justice Clarence Thomas went on an expensive, elaborate vacation trip, more than once, used private planes sponsored by billionaires whose business interests might show up in front of the Supreme Court. And the fact that he took these trips is indeed true because Justice Thomas, being an honest person, actually admitted to it, said, yep, I did it. And he did point out that at the time he did the trips, hanging out with close friends was not required to be disclosed. We'll talk some more about that. The Dems have also complained about another conservative justice, Samuel Alito, who reportedly has also gone on private trips and private planes. But he's been singled out, and to try and look bipartisan, they've also said, oh, well, we heard that that racist Justice Sonia Sotomayor has had help from her staff promoting her book, but that's not something that they seem to be highlighting over there. Second, apparently there was a gap in the ethics rules, and the justices could confab with close friends, which is what Justice Thomas relied on. In a responsible fashion, I do think that he should have declared this. I just, so you know, I'm a big fan of Justice Thomas. I agree with him in about 99% of his decisions in the number of years that he's been on the Supreme Court, but I do feel that he should have declared this. Now, this has been corrected. The Judicial Conference of for the federal courts has corrected this in the ethics rules. So if you get a substantial gift, even if it's from a close friend like vacations or air flights, then you do need to declare it. So that's already been corrected, meaning that the Senate doesn't need to fool with this. But I think it's kind of interesting that they have gotten all excited about this because they're constitutionalist federal judges that they feel they can go beat up on. But it's hilarious. And this is, I think, the punchline is Nancy Pelosi has deliberately blocked progress in passing a bill that requires members of Congress and their immediate families to behave themselves and to not engage in insider trading. Now, why is this relevant? Because her husband reportedly using special information, again, that's just a report, nobody's ever investigated it, I wonder why, and has made millions and millions of dollars doing some interesting real estate and stock trades that many other people would not have done until a later point. And that, of course, is one of the reasons why insider trading is so much maligned, because it gives people just that little head start. Yeah, folks, I would have liked to have bought a lot of different stocks in their early days had I known that maybe in the future there were going to be government changes or contracts that would make it more attractive to own that stock. Yes, folks. So we just want people to pay attention and to play by the rules on both sides. And I feel especially that Justice Thomas, for almost his entire career on the U.S. Supreme Court, has been singled out because he is Black. Does that sound like racial discrimination to you? And since he's a conservative and he's not singing Kumbaya with Jeffries and the other folks that are leading the Black caucus in the Congress and so forth, then he seems to be getting knocked every time he turns around, every decision he makes. And it's most unfortunate. I don't do that to another justice and say, gee, you did that because you're a dumbass. It's not because of your color. So let's all play by the same rules. I find the hypocrisy just fascinating. And I looked this up because I remembered the quote a little differently. Famously, in the 1945 book, which became a classic, George Orwell's Animal Farm, which was a criticism of communism, by the way, the pigs take over a farm. That's the leading piece. And they eventually decide that they're going to be the kings of the farm, even though in a democracy that they've crafted under communist rules, everybody's supposed to be equal. And of course, the book's last line is, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. And I call on the pigs like Chucky Schumer and Nancy Pelosi to give some serious thought to that as they pursue their anti-American agenda. Hey, Chucky, put your own house in order first. Do you want to talk about ethics? Thank you for listening, and I welcome your feedback. This is Dr. David D. Schein for a special edition of Saving America. If you've enjoyed it, subscribe on your favorite platform.